This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from Heat of the Everflame, including the entire Kindred's Curse saga by Penn, as well as HOFAS and the Vampire Diaries. There are also mentions of ACOFAE, Throne of Glass, and Indiana Jones. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing Heat of the Everflame, Book 3 in the Kindred's Curse saga by Penn.
And right off the bat, I think we should set up our feelings about this book by saying if Orly Bellator has no haters, then we're dead. We're just fucked off this whole country world because how dare she?
How dare she? How dare she? Orly Bellator, enemy number one. All right. So right away, I think you can tell feelings. Feelings are there. We have them. I will confess that if you have listened to our other episodes in this series, you know that in the last episode, I was saying that I was deeply in book 3 while we were recording that episode, and I couldn't put it down. Now, I did put it down, and by that I mean like in my head, just throwing it across the room. Because I did this through audio. So like, imagine just in my head, I'm throwing it across the room. I threw this book across the room in frustration several times. But again, that's a feeling. And it is rare that I have such feelings, about a book, about a character, about a situation, about what I would do in that situation. And not only did I have those feelings, but I kept reading with those feelings. I didn't DNF, and then wrapping this at the end, I immediately went and was like, what do you mean there's no book 4 right now? What do you mean? So all of these frustrations, all of these feelings that I had are, what a time.
Yeah. And it's like, we know we're getting a book 4, but we have not a single clue. Also, as I was wrapping it, the fact that we didn't even have an epilogue, that last chapter is typically what our epilogue would be, or something else would be happening, or maybe we're going to get, I was also expecting an epilogue, so it was still very much a wait, what? We're just left here. We're just left. And again, to what you said, Laura, feelings, because there are a lot of choices and being made and not being made in this series so far that is evoking emotions from both of us, where we've read other books and it's been, okay, they didn't make the choice that we would make, but carry on, I guess. This has us very on our seats. I think at one point I did text you the same thing how we started off this episode. And I said, you know what? Even if she comes around at the end of the book, I don't know if I'm jumping to conclusions. I was at this point where I was really feeling it against Orly. And I was like, you know what? Even if she redeems herself in some way, no, she's still fucked up, in my book. And I think it's also interesting to explain different familial dynamics, and the Diem has this need to appease her mother, to look for acceptance, to look for the good in everybody also, arguably. And even when she's talking to her, she goes, Orly's telling Diem, what do you mean? You're choosing this over a descendant? Very dismissive of Luther, which, poor Luther, we love him. He's always standing on business. Granted, we know, at least from the reader and our context clues, he's picked up on the mating bond. Her, not so much. But he's saying, I love the microtrope when the significant other stands up for the FMC. towards their own family, which is always arguably difficult in real life or in fantasy. And so to see it done so well here and call her out on her shit, it was great. I love it.
And arguably, Orly is the reason for all of this, all of these problems. Everything is her fault.
Everything is her fault, and the audacity that she has to try to project and say it's everybody else's problem. And we said this in the second episode too. You left, you fucked all the way off for 8 months and didn't even notice your daughter's beckon, like, on the island. Who is that? What voice is that? I'm sorry. If you've ever had loss in your life, you still have that voice in your head many years later. So here she is fucking off, not knowing her daughter who's 20. And then when she's going off and like saying, like recounting her history of how she became who she is. And like, I'm not just a mom. I'm like the guardian leader.
I'm a spy mom.
And I'm a spy. She's like, what?
I'm not just
sorry,
any mom.
What?
I'm a spy mom and also leader spy mom.
A leader spy mom, but I'm not just
like those other spies though.
Yeah. And how many times did this bitch have to say, like, go to Vance? You can trust Vance. Look, fantasy or real life, I'm not trusting a Vance to save my goddamn life.
Nope. He's lucky he only lost an arm. Here's the lesson that I learned in this book. Kill him the first time. Kill him the first time so you do not have to deal with the consequences of them popping up later and stabbing you in the fucking back.
Over and over again. And you know what? Diem needed to learn her lesson, and so did Orly. This is a Orly hating episode too, because she is the reason for all of this. Because even with Diem's biological father, she's like, he's dead. I stabbed him. And if you are a new or like long time or new listener, you know we say all the time on ACOFAE, no head, not dead. And here we are in another book proving our fucking point.
Yeah, proving our fucking point. And it's just, you know, at a certain point, it becomes very frustrating because Diem's the queen, right? She's the queen. And she did all of this queen stuff without mom, and mom just swoops in and is like, no, I'm a spy. You're just my daughter. You're not important at all.
My little warrior. Fuck all the way off. Fuck all the way off, because not only am I the queen of Lumnos, I also am like acquiring like fucking infinity stones, the crowns for all these territories.
But Jess, I don't want them. I don't.
Could it be? And you know, even if you didn't, I'm sorry, I'm going to throw in HOFAS spoiler. So skip forward, I guess, for 30 seconds. There could have been like, okay, you don't want it, Bryce. Whatever, not what we would do. However, like work together, oversee it, and then like create that democracy. But she had to do it from within first, which is what she arguably did, regardless of your opinion on the book. So here you have this opportunity that Diem could have said, okay, I don't want it. But I think a perfect example is you have Montios territory who says we do have a figurehead. We have the crown figurehead. But this is very much a democracy-ish. We don't necessarily have a representative for the mortals, but here we are also not having representatives for women, speaking about human rights and women's rights in the United States. So quite familiar. But the concept is there. You can go ahead and collect all your crowns and then reestablish and create those democracies from within. And she was so quick to be like, I don't know. Are you kidding me? You need to cast votes so you're trying to be fair and you're not working with people who are playing fair. So I understand the ideology and the idealistic society she wants to create, but she's not there yet because she's not working with the right people. She has to play their game first before she tears it down and builds it back up from within.
And she's got to stop sparing people. She has to stop sparing the mortals. Stop sparing them. Just wipe them out and mourn about it later. But you know what? They probably didn't like you anyway. So like, you know,
how quick they were to turn on her back when she goes to her mortal city. She's like, I've healed these people, their family. I've donated to them. I've done everything. And look how quick they were to heal me because I wasn't fighting on their side. Yeah. When that's all she's been doing. Letting people go left and right. Please.
Changing minds, changing hearts. You know what? Murder works too. I'm just saying.
When I was drinking, but you're not wrong.
It's just you have all this power and you want to be fair. Why? You have all of this power. Nobody else does. And it's divine power. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like you were greedy. That's the other thing. It's not like she was like actively seeking it out and being greedy, but like you have it now. So fucking use it. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be me.
It was like she was trying. I feel like arguably she's trying to say like, I'm going to be a queen for the people, both descendants and mortals. So like, I understand where she's coming from, but she's not approaching it the way that she should. She's not right now. She's just trying to stay on the mortals' good graces right now. I feel like that's what it comes down to. But like you said, they're already hating on her. But like the descendants are already hating on her too, as we know from the challenge in book 2. So like, she's not winning because she's not putting her foot down. She's not picking a lane.
No, she's not at all. She's not at all. And you can argue that, like, I guess a third of her brain is utterly consumed by the mating bond and she doesn't realize it yet. So like these moments where she just loses her mind because she can't find Luther, like, and, you know, she goes completely like out of it. And it's just like, where is, you know, that is the mating bond. So like half of, you know, maybe a third of her brain is taken up by that. And Luther too, like he's a little bit useless for most of this book too. Like, oh my gosh. But it is frustrating to just like know. Okay, here's the thing. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. And at some point you have to just say, fuck it, and do the thing. And the thing does not get done here. The thing gets done to her. And that is betrayal and surprise again and again and again. Because what? Because I don't know. I don't know. Because of decisions, I guess.
Decisions and like lack thereof.
Yeah.
Because I think she's just trying to, her whole thing is like peace and like not wanting to kill people. And like, again, I understand this idealistic world she's trying to create, but she's just not in that position yet. And she's trying to show that she's so different than the other kings and queens and, you know, majesties that are overseeing all of these territories. But she's doing it solo because none of the other crowns are feeling this way. They are very self-serving, what works for them, what keeps working for them. It's not about the good of the people. It's the good of their coffers.
Well, and let's talk about that because we have, of course, this follows the pattern, but right away we are seeing the kind of like betrayal that we have because the book opens like cold open. We're drowning. Holy shit. We're drinking flame root. Oh my God. We're captured. Recalling book 2. What happened? Explosions. Okay. In this Guardian camp, the Arboros queen is there and she eventually is just like taken off. And Diem is told, you know, forget that you saw her, forget everything that you see here. And then later it's like,
she fucks her over too when she went out of her way as they were both imprisoned with the Guardians. This is what I can't, like, I understand the perfect world. I do, because I try to lead with that mentality in my personal day-to-day life, but also learning how she's not learning the politics is what it is. And she's trying to do the idealistic world without the politics of it all. And that's what is working against her. That's why she's not playing the game. Granted, part of it is like, this is a book 3 of a saga, so it is very much a travel book.
Yeah,
but shit is
everywhere.
happening. I mean, this is the first time in a long time that I looked at a map as I was following a fantasy journey. Usually I'm just like, okay. I mean, the last time I was actively looking at a map might have been Throne of Glass, arguably. Or, like just the SJM universes if we're like hanging out in Lunathean. But this, I was like, wait, if she's an Arboros and now we're crossing borders, we're losing different powers, I was like, wait, are we going to have to do this whole ring of countries? And we eventually got there, just not in the same way. But it was really interesting to see that journey and how she was accumulating these powers from every crown.
Okay, so let's talk about the pattern before. Here's the thing. This book is really long, so we're going to summarize it as best we can. But here's the thing about the pattern. In chapter 5, Luther is coming in on Sarai. He doesn't have any power, and he's coming in to save the day. Tell me that's not exactly the end scene.
With no power. Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. Diem, she's there. She disintegrates the bolt because she has the power. It's like this whole thing. Okay. The whole time that Diem is at that Guardian camp, she has been dosed with flame root. And she's taken a lot, which means that she is useless until like the middle of Igneos, right? Like,
yeah, because she stopped taking it for a while, and that's when she got her powers back for a hot second in Abros. And then she ate some again. I think it was like forced upon her. It was like one of those, you eat this without us forcing you down your throat and we'll keep people alive, or so, just one of those conversations. And so Igneos is when she got her powers back again. Yeah.
All right, so fun facts that we have here. The borders are getting a little wonky. The borders are starting to break down, and the Guardians are like, yeah, we got to get this all done by like Forging Day, and Forging Day is in 3 months, and like, oh my gosh. It's like a whole thing. And there are rebels in the north, in Montios and Miros. There's like a blockade. There's all this stuff going on. And it is Diem trying to work with everybody. It's not working, but she kind of bonds with the Guardian leader. By showing that her mom is a piece of shit and didn't tell her anything ever. And so Cordelia, the Guardian leader here, is like, wow, that's fucked. And you know what? You know what? I don't want you in my camp. You know what? Why don't you get on this fucking boat and get the fuck up out of here?
You're going to screw shit up so bad, and you are of no value.
Yeah,
goodbye.
Get out of here. But she can't, right? Like, there are forces at play. Fate is at play or whatever. The boat comes back, and we have another thwarted escape. And eventually here... if I am remembering correctly, after very sexy times inside of trees for a little bit, Taryn ends up getting fucking stabbed with Godstone.
Yeah, the Godstone.
And that sucks. That sucks, right? Like,
let's not forget how they got the Godstone was because Diem set them up to retrieve it from book 2.
Mm-hmm. By this point, Vance has lost his arm. It has been burned off by Sarai. Sarai, come back around one more time. Finish the job. Finish the job. If Vance had been killed right then, ooh, what would have happened? Ooh.
I feel like the way that was set up too, because I reread that part twice. They made it seem like he himself had burned, not. And then I was like, did he burn? Okay, yeah, he definitely burned. So then when he came back, they were like, it's just his arm. I was like, ah. No, I really thought, I don't know, however I read it, he himself had just gone to ash. So then I'll just go back to like, no head, not dead, I guess. If it's not in black and white that he has no head, then I'm just going to assume they're all still living. Because I was like, ugh, this fucking guy. He won't die. Nobody will kill him. Why aren't we killing him? Back to Oralee being like, you should trust him. You should trust him. Fuck all the way off.
Yep. Fuck off. And it's Vance, like, kind of antagonizing Diem and the soldiers and everything, being like, oh, how do you feel, guy, that the person who killed your brother feels bad about it? He's like, oh, I feel like this, brah, and stabs Taryn right in the fucking side. But that's what happened. And it's Godstone. So like, it's like a death sentence, and Taryn is going to die. So he knows that. So then he's just like, brah. And Alix, who is there in this like foiled rescue mission, takes a Diem and they fuck off to Igneos because she's the queen. And I understand, again, both of them are like, a third of their brain is taken by the mating bond, but Alix is like doing the right thing here. And like both of them get pissed off at her about it. And she's like, hey, fuck off, both of y'all. Like, I had my orders, like, and here's another thing. The way that Diem is very flippant about her orders to Sarai it's really, she's like, don't come back. Get him and don't come back for me. It's just like, holy crap. Like, be nice to your pet.
I love Sarai. And I also like Tybalt, the Igneous' king, because the second he catches them, he smelt them. He knows that they're there. They're bleeding out of all these orifices. Yeah. And he was like, no, like I can see, because the thing about Gryverns is that they can go ahead and they can tell true intentions. So, and he didn't like Igneos King. So he was like, you know what? Nope, don't see anybody over here. Let's just go in this other area. Yeah, I like the Gryverns. And I think it was good that, at one point Diem even says like, I can't hold them accountable. Like, they are as powerful as, and their intentions are based on who the crown that they're reporting to is. So if it's going to be a shitty crown, they're going to have shitty actions because that is just how the bond how they're tethered. I don't even want to say a bond, how they're tethered to that territory.
Yep. It's not their fault. They are animals. They are sweetums. We love them. We love them. Okay. So it's important to note that Vance tried to hold down Diem and take her blood so that he could use the bloodlocks, but because it's not given willfully, it won't work. She freaks out when she remembers that, and she's like, we have to go right now. We have to go back. They're going to kill him. And Luther is just like, chill out. What? Just
you're telling me. Yes. Which is also, I really like this addition. This is the first time that I've seen like any type of like blood spell, blood lock, anything that was like, if it wasn't consensual, then it's no good. I love that.
Yep. It's good shit. Good shit. All right. Diem and Alix have run to Igneos, and there is no treatment for Godstone cuts, right? And they're sitting there and they're waiting for Luther and Taryn. They eventually like find them and they wander into the old human settlement. Taryn is really suffering from the Godstone, and Luther is like, now this is the second half of his brain. Right? So his brain's cut in thirds. 1/3 is the mating bond. 1/3 is he's slowly being poisoned to death by Godstone. And the other third is like tactics and politics. That's Luther right now. That's all he can do. Which, like,
poor Luther. He only has 33% of his brain that can focus on tactics and still try to escape.
Yep. And it's a whole thing. Okay. So, from here on, Luther knows that he's dying, and he starts to spout off these one-liners to Diem, and Diem just is not understanding, not grasping. She is not seeing. It's very frustrating this whole time. He says something, when you know death is coming, should you tell the person that you love, or is it adding cruelty to tragedy? And she's like, huh? What?
She's only thinking of obviously what's right in front of her, which is Taryn, because she knows for a fact that he's impacted with the Godstone, but also her brother, who's back at Lumnos, who she's thinking of like all the family drama that they have going on, like keep her little brother protected and as happy as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, okay. And eventually, as Luther gets more and more covered up, she's like, why is he wearing gloves? It's so formal. It's like, ugh. Okay. All right.
Did you guess that he got stricken with Godstone?
Okay. Here. All right. Excellent question, Jessica. Excellent question. For the first good portion of this, I was like, yeah, I know he's totally fucking dying of Godstone. It's because the veins are spiraling. He's totally dying Godstone. And then towards before he's like healed, but like kind of it's like real close to when he's healed, but like not quite. They start talking about the mating bond mark and how it just like shows up, and I was like, oh, his is like coming off of his scar or something, and that's why it's like his neck, and he's got to wear like it's that, and he's covering that up so that Diem doesn't see it and freak out. So it's like that's what it is. And
so
then
okay, that's interesting that he was just like trying to hide that, like how she had the Orikai's star that she was covering with a scarf.
Yeah, so like I thought maybe it was that, but then it was like, no, he's just fucking dying, but whatever. Okay. So Jess, as you said, they are just trying to find shelter in the desert. They come upon the old human settlement. They meet the king, the Gryvern. Tybalt there kind of hides them. Very cool, very cool. They decide to go to Umbros and see what is going on there. And Diem really wants to talk to the queen. But before that, she goes to Arbros and she sneaks off, sets a trap and sneaks off, and comes back with a bunch of supplies from Arbros. And she makes a poultice for Taryn. And what does she do, Jess? That this very one obvious thing, that's the obvious fucking thing. What does she do?
Oh, she pricks herself and she bleeds into the salve by accident. So that must mean that whatever her blood touched isn't the good salve. So she has to she has to minimize what she can use. Meanwhile, you're fucking magic. You're a queen. You couldn't even been like, well, maybe this will help. I mean, and at this point, here's the thing. If you're already dying, as we know, then you know what? Now I'm thinking, well, now we have two options. I don't know if my blood will do anything, but we'll have the untouched salve and we'll have the touched salve and we'll see what happens, because we already know what's going to happen if we do nothing. So what do we have left to lose at this point?
Yeah, I cannot believe that this thread of storyline was pulled so far, when to any fantasy reader, it's like right there. It's right there.
And they made it up, like the way I imagined it, because like it was such a specific scene that you can see it on the screen, right? You can see the zoom in of the blood and the white powder and like it coming together and like a pestle and mortar situation. Like you see it. You see the whole image and you're like, bitch, please.
It's like, please, my God. Ugh. But no, we're not there yet.
No,
we're not there yet. Where we are, though, is at the border of Igneos and Umbros. And hey, keep your hands off my mate. whoa, Luther, whoa.
Yeah, the way that we were like, okay, Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, this is just like things that we
My
say.
cover,
to, like,
yeah.
it's my cover.
Whoa.
Because meanwhile, like, again, if this was on the screen, you would have had a pan to Alix and Taryn eyeing each other and then trying to be cool. And she even says, like, she wasn't that faded by it. He was like, I think you pulled away, but she was just like, what the fuck? But she also wasn't as terrified as when Henry proposed to her and she was like, I gotta get the fuck out of town.
It's really, okay, talking about cinematic, Jess, as you said, this scene where she is burning up and she's burning in the water and like it's steam rising and Luther comes to her, but he already knows. But he's like, let me just get to you. Like all of this and like all this storm is coming, all of this, it should have, all of this. And Diem like absorbing magic, right? And like the attacks are coming and she's getting stronger, but Luther is hurt, right? And then there's the dagger into Diem's chest. She's falling. She's like reaching out.
And all of this is happening. Also, I think we should know that all of this travel is happening as Guardians are like tracking them along too. Like they're watching. They're like, we might not be able to enter these lands, but we're going to watch you from a distance.
Yeah, so they're watching, exactly, Jess, as you said, they're watching all of this happen. And Luther has to attack Diem with his magic that Diem unlocks because of the forging magic to like kickstart her magic to heal her because she absorbs magic and it makes her stronger. But then Luther, unleashes his whole magic. The Gryvern comes and saves the king, like all of this stuff. And the point is they make it to Umbros. And Diem is overwhelmed with hearing everybody's thoughts. And she doesn't really understand what that is until like later.
Did you pick up that she was acquiring everybody's like the territory powers?
I don't know. At this point, no, I don't think so. Yeah, because the burn part of it with Igneos, I was thinking like it was just like activating her temper because they keep talking about her temper like over and over and over again and how it's like her worst quality. So it's like, oh, well, maybe these lands are like pulling out like the most painful, like worst thing. No.
I know. Cause the first thing I thought was they were talking about like fire columns or something. And then she was making like fire. So I only had a speculation where I was like, oh, I wonder if maybe because she's a hybrid, if she's like half mortal, half descendant, maybe that's why she's different that nobody else has had. So maybe that's it. But I didn't remember that everybody talking. I didn't process that she was hearing it. It was just her. Like I thought she was like out in a market. So you hear conversations. So I didn't pick up that until I think it was at some point when they got to the end and they were talking about Umbros was the kingdom that from book 1, they can read everybody's minds again. And I had you in my head, speaking of like mind powers, saying, that's not going to be important later. Like the context clues that we know. And then I was like, it's later. It's happening now.
Right here. I will make a connection to our previous episode for you, Jessica Marie. Do you remember in book 2 when Diem is flipping through the journal that Luther keeps and she's just like kind of like looking through and she sees names and she says a name in particular. And I was like, it's not important now, but that name will be important later. That name is Zelric. Is Zelric.
I did not pick up on that in the book, But you saying that, you talking about that in the episode that you're referring to, I was like, oh, you did say that. I didn't even remember it was Zal, though.
That's here. So it's a fun like Easter egg if you know it, and if you don't, go back and reread it. Then, but if you do, you're like, oh, that's a name. That's a very important person in book 3. Like, holy shit. Of course, Zelric is the Jaguar, Luther's contact in Umbros, who helps get the children out. He owns the Second Chance Inn, which is completely run by Lumnos, half mortal, half descended children. And he is the one who is going to get Diem et al. Out of Umbros and back to Lumnos. He has a contact, the Cardinal. And it's very tricky because the Queen of Umbros knows everything with her very powerful, incredible thought magic and her 100 centenaries that line the city and keep watch on everything. Yeah. And it's always like the whole 100 centenary concept was from one of the original, I think it was just like basically the other crowns many moons ago were trying to dictate who all can control her military, her army and her guards. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to take that choice away from y'all and I'm going to make the choice. And it's going to be 100. Everybody else gets fucked and dies. So it's very interesting that we later find out that she's like, they volunteered. And it's always a consistent 100. So, they're dying for the cause. They're dying for the right of the country. What an honor it is. But the fact that she took that decision away from the crowns that kind of made everybody realize, oh, Umbra stands on business. Umbro stands on business. Luther stands on business too. However, Luther is acting erratic at this point. My note says there is passionate fingering. There is some passionate fingering here, but his body is wrapped up head to toe. We are fully buttoned here. And he is pulling away. Luther drops the lines. I crave you. I need you. You're my entire existence. He also says life is cruel and then pulls away and leaves her.
Look.
Dude,
Luther has some bangers.
He's got bangers.
He's got some bangers. But like, I would feel a little bit, a lot of it, like Diem to be like, what the fuck? You're very like push and pull. What is it? She's like, what is going on? Like, is it me? There's a lot of insecurity there. Girl, I get it.
Here is an important scene where Diem kind of just confesses everything. Because Diem, here's the thing. Diem, eldest daughter, riddled with guilt about absolutely everything she could ever be guilty about. So she finally says to everybody, like, yo, I have visions. I was in the Guardians. They said I was an imposter. Hey, there's a prophecy. Hey, the borders are breaking down. Hey. There's also a little conversation here about Taryn being attracted to men. And Diem's like, well, I assumed, but I shouldn't have assumed. But no, which kickstarts Taryn and Zelric's romance, which very sweet, very fun. I like them.
I love them. I love who she was like, what's your type? Because he's also like, I kind of thought it might be, he was going to like, and he still might, who knows? Cause he was like, always like, can I be y'all's third? Tell me if you want, like, so he was like, that's my type. And it was a bunch of hot guys oiled up in mesh tops. So I was like, good for you, Taryn.
Yep. Good for you. So while we are killing time to get out of Umbros through Zelric's connections, we go to the market. Nothing of significance in the market so much is the lavender dragon flame, or wyvern flame, wyvern flame, that Diem sees. And I love this scene where she's like, rise, and all the flame are like, woo. That's cool.
I'm telling you, the more we talk about it, the more I could see it like not a movie, but like a mini series, because there's a lot of moving parts that you wouldn't want to miss the details, like the market, like the flames, like the scenes of her skin boiling, and you could see it. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. Diem also has visions of a man leading the rebels. She buys the lavender flame. It is from the Montio Scrivern, right? It's like, Luther has a hunch that she needs to go to all of the realms, and he keeps saying that over and over and over again. She's like, I should go to Montios. Okay. So we are betraying now. Here's a betrayal. We're in the caves. We're in the tunnels. We're in the Cardinal. We are trying to get out of Umbros, but here comes our creepy throwback Simon from, book 2 being like, hello, Zelric betrayed you. Hello. Let's go to the queen. Let's go to the palace, which though, honestly, is what Diem wants. Not in this situation where she has to bring the cardinal back to life. Which again, though,
yeah. Because
upside the head.
Because it's like she knew she had it in her for that. So why didn't you think you had it in you for any of the other situations, specifically for Taryn?
Yeah, just like, right upside the head, please.
Well, and this is also the point where they're like, they're going to have the rite of passage or whatever to escape. And I use that in air quotes. And she's telling Luther, she goes, look, like, there's something about the Umbros Queen. Like, she clocked me. She was the one who stopped telling me to take flame, the flame route. She's the one who stopped, like, saying, like, my biological father is out there. She has answers that we don't know. And Luther's like, there's no time. And she's like, okay. And I do think, I mean, us as the reader, if she had gone to the Umbros Queen first instead of, making an escape, it would have gone farther in goodwill. Especially when you're a queen. You're a queen.
And the Umbros Queen was willing to talk it out too. Like she said, like, yo, just stay. I've got these spider senses tingling about my successor. I understand what's going on. I have shit to say. Go to the library, chill out a little bit. Let's talk it out. Like, here, I'll give you some info, like, I knew your mom. I knew about the attack. There's the prophecy, like, I know what's coming. The Kindred didn't want this. She drops these little nuggets of information, and Diem is like, but Luther is mad at me. And it's driving me crazy.
Because then, that's right, because then she's like, oh, let's go to lunch or let's do dinner or whatever. She's like, I would, but I really need to see my friends right now. And at that point she goes, well, that's great. You're going to do it anyway because your friends didn't give a fuck and they're at the bathhouse.
Yeah. So like, be a queen, right? Like, come on. The Umbros Queen, drops the questions. How far are you willing to go? How much are you going to sacrifice? If everybody's dead, are you going to be the one to keep going? Like, let's go. You need to give everything. We need to be certain. We have the Everflame there with mortal books on the history. Here's a banger that Diem drops. And education is the most powerful weapon of all. Quote, quote, quote.
I love that. I have it highlighted in the book.
Yep. It's here where we kind of get the inkling of the Forbidden Lands because she sees a big map of the country and she sees the circle in Montios and she's like, that's weird. This is also where she reads Montios's journal and she sees that like a bunch of shit is ripped out and things are missing and we have thoughts. We have thoughts about our youngest. We fear our youngest.
Yeah, but the fact that she didn't even ask about, does anybody know why these pages are ripped out?
Or she just take it. I would have taken just like, well, I'm going to take this home. You're coming home with me.
If we're taking pages.
Be like, hey, it's already fucked. Like, this is coming home with me. Like, who's going to stop me? Nobody, because I'm the fucking queen.
And then, again, if you want to, like, play politics of it all she would have, Umbros would have caught her. Why did you do that? I don't know. All you had to do was ask me. I gave you a key to my library. Mm-hmm. Nobody has access to this. Mm-hmm. And she would have been like, you just had to tell me. Why did you go sneaking around? Actually, here's the whole fucking book if you want to bring it with you.
Yep. All right, here is some information that can't possibly ever be important later, okay? We're at dinner. Ursula is crawling across the table. I can see it. I love it. I love it. She says, memories cannot be recovered. When the soul is gone, death is the only mercy. Oh, we can't put that's not going to be important. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But Diem is too preoccupied. What happened to us, Luther? You'll understand soon.
Why doesn't he also just fucking tell her? I just don't understand any of this. But both of their jealousies are jealousying.
Yeah.
She starts calling one of the centenaries hag face. So she said the quiet. She was like, "Oh shit, I said that out loud."
It's like, whoops.
She was like, "What?" The way she balked. Oh, it's gonna be good on screen.
She's like, "Oh shit."
It was good.
We're playing parlor games. You know, we're trying to. It's like truth or dare, more or less. We're getting into it.
With
It's
magic.
very fun.
It's fun.
With magic.
Yeah. If anybody's done truth or dare, or even worse, like it felt like a crazy never have I ever.
Yeah.
Because they were like, lie. You targeted this question. Yeah.
It's like, So what do we have? What do we have? We have more little nuggets of information that is dropped, like about breeding. Kindred breeding dilutes the blood. Mortal blood doesn't dilute the blood, though. So, like, that's why.
Well, and then she even has like current centenaries. She's like, she's half, but we're raising her as a full descendant.
Yep. Yeah, and she will have all of that of their mother's power because it's more power than it's this whole like eugenics kind of situation that is just kind of tossed in there that can't possibly be important at all. We're in chapter 37. That's when we're talking about the mate mark, and that's when I was like, oh, maybe that's what it is. Because Luther now is covered from like neck to toe with gloves on. And like, so I was like, oh, well, maybe. And then those girls were in there probably like doing something to it. This is where I was like, maybe he's not fucking rotting away in front of our eyes. However, isn't Diem supposed to be like one of the best healers in the world? This is where I'm talking about 1/3 of the brain is activated at once because the healer section is not activated. She's like, Luther, he's just mad at me. He's so stressed and mad at me. Not that he's dying.
And then when he's in the bed, like, then he's in the bedroom and the two healers leave, but she doesn't, she is in her mate third of her brain. And she's like, oh my gosh, they just left him and he's just like clothes everywhere, so disheveled and naked in his bed. She's not even realizing that they were like healers. She just sees two girls leave the room and he left the bathhouses early. Nothing else is processing in her mind. And the only thing that everybody is just saying, like, he looks really tired. And Leeks is even like, he even left the bathhouses early. And maybe you're onto something. Something's not right, but we're not sure what it is because when has he ever been tired?
And Diem goes, she finally plucks up the courage. She goes to his door. She knocks on his door forever. He finally lets her in. And she's like, oh, okay, none of this is good, but I need to get my feelings out. And he's like holding on to the wall and like falling over.
Like, he is not in good I mean, you would look at that, and I understand that I might have had something, like, I have something to say, but if I walked in on you propping yourself up, and not in the book boyfriend way people talk about, but literally I'm about to keel over.
Pale and sweaty.
I would be like, wait, before I even say, what is wrong? Get on, go sit down, hold on. What? I knew you weren't feeling that well, but damn. Like, that, you should, most of the time, those thoughts become secondary after that. Context clues are like social cues, I guess.
It is finally revealed, though, and Diem's like, oh my god, oh my God, we have to leave. We have to leave right now. Let's make it worse by not getting any answers, not asking any questions, not saying, hey, do you have a cure? I mean, obviously, like, they don't, but, like, not working the situation, not sending him on his own, like, we can't separate. We can't separate because Diem has this thing, like, mate, she wants to claim him as a mate. She's starting to really claim and want him and all of this stuff. So she calls Sarai to go get him. So, like, what do you do? Like, you fucking get on the Gryvern and you flee and you leap off the balcony and have Sarai catch you in her claws like it's fucking parapet and off you go. Diem ends up using all of her gifts to fight the queen in the sky on her Gryver.
Again, like, I maybe this is like because it's the third of her brain just in mate mode, even though she doesn't realize it. Because again, it's the middle of the night. Yes, they said that they were gonna have dinner tomorrow. The only reason that she was staying the next day is arguably they played the game. If she played the game and won, all her questions would be answered the next day. There was no rhyme or reason for anything else because they already, like, did all the formalities with the Queen of Umbros. So she could have even said, look, take him in the middle of the night. That would, like, there's going to be somebody, perhaps, let him be home. And let me wake up the queen in the middle of the night. Hey, we're not escaping. Communication, right? We're not escaping. This is what's going on. It's imperative. Look, I want to honor our side of the bargain. I will stay here in good faith. But again, like, she's not politicking.
She's not thinking. She's not thinking. Because your only ally, Ursula's not voting for the execution of Orly. I mean, she should, because Orly is locked in a prison in Fortos, and Diem is, like, determined to go get her to make everything right. I couldn't be me.
What is it? I'm trying to even think, like,
how would that ever make it better?
No, and nothing would make it better. And I get, like, this is part of, like, a Diem's focus. But as a crown, no matter what territory, I'm seeing, why are we even giving this lady a trial?
Yeah.
She led the Guardians, tried to explode us. I don't care if she is the queen, the Lumnos Queen's mother. Absolutely fucking not. And honestly, it would do everyone a service if they just executed her.
Yep.
She has brought nothing to anything except blaming everybody else for her decisions.
Well, that's on efficiency, isn't it? No efficiency.
Just give us
backlog and paperwork.
I feel like anybody who listens to us, they're like, we've been following them along for a long time. I think we should just give them a country.
Yeah, they should just rule a country. They're pretty good at it. They're pretty good at it. All right. We get away from the queen by using the lavender flame. Thank you so much. We love it. Salute to the Gryvern flame that saved us. And we're back in Lumnos, and Luther's dying. He's dying. Everybody sees it. And Diem is like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I'm going to make a big fuss and give everybody false hope. And I'm going to lie. And then I'm going to run around a lot.
Denial with a capital D.
Denial with capital D. I'm going to run around the palace a lot, right? I'm going to go to your room. I'm going to yell at your religious bust of Lumnos. I'm going to see her cry blood tears. I'm going to run back to your room. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to
hold the compass.
Yes, hold the compass. And I'm going to put blood on you. And we're going to save you. That's what's going to happen, Luther. You're going to live. Because honestly, if he didn't at this point, the story would be over. Because
well, that's where it was. I think it's like halfway through the book. And I was like, well, he's living. That we know that. And I think it was just, again, context, because I was like, okay, we're living and we're also getting a book 4, and we haven't even confirmed the mating bond yet. So, and I don't feel like the mating bond is a spoiler if you're just jumping in. Again, it's like when it's there, it's all there. We're just waiting for them to accept it with each other.
Yep. Luther, again, dropping some bangers. We were always related, Diem, but you're the one who made us family. Damn right. Damn right. Damn right. Love is confessed. We will face danger together. Hey, you know who's mad about this, though? Teller. And Teller has a right to be mad about all this.
Yeah. He has a right to be mad about a lot of things.
A lot. I've got nothing but empathy and compassion for Teller. He's mad. And as he should be. He should be. Okay. Alix drops some knowledge that Diem can create Godstone. Holy shit. What? Yeah. But when she got so mad with her emotions over the death of her father and she went boom, that was all Godstone. And she collected it and we're going to make shields. We're going to make shields with it. But also, Diem, your problems are that you're not coordinated. Forto says you're not coordinated. So you can't actually do anything. And Remus is still in charge. That would have been the last. You know what? That would have been my last spoon. I would have been fucking feral from that point on.
Yeah, again, she's, you know what it is? I think it just comes down to she's playing, not even playing the game. She's following the rules with people who don't give a fuck about the rules. Mm-hmm. Like she's just what is it? She's playing in the wrong sandbox or whatever. She's just not there because Eamon is selling her out, and then she's like saying, they're like, what's the plan, Diem? You know, Remus is like, what's the plan? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna save my boyfriend, and I'm gonna save my mom. Like, she's saying the things. So, like, then she's surprised when she's like, oh, they used those said things that I told them I was gonna do against me. You legit told the people you shouldn't trust, and at no point in 3 books have they proven themselves that you could trust them. If anything, it's the exact opposite, and you just keep, again, she gives so many chances to more than should be allowed, honestly. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. She should, at some point, yeah, a lot of things are your fault, Diem. Like, you're carrying a certain amount of burden because you're not following through.
Jessica Marie.
We're very passionate about this series.
Jessica Marie, tell me, if you will, about Diem's confrontation with Henry.
Oh, Lord. He's making out with the fuck buddy that Laura and I had called. We were saying, we're like,
oh, they're fucking.
Like, y'all are, yeah. They were like, when we had said in a previous episode, where she's like, oh, the fuck buddy was like, does Henry know that y'all are still together? And then they were like, this is the part. I probably would have laughed in her face. We were going to tell her after. He's mine and you can't have him. I was like,
calm down.
You honey, go have him, please. Because even if I'm dumb and I'm using 2/3 of my brain right now, I got myself a mate. Like, you can keep Henry. You can keep... And honestly, I kind of like... I don't think it was meant as a shade. I read it as a shade. So that says something about me. When she was like, I always expected you to be with somebody like her, so sweet and docile. I was like, but arguably, that's what he wanted. And when her mom is like, oh my God, you and Henry are supposed to... No, Henry liked a certain version of me. And I know we talked about this in the Vampire Diaries when it was like Stefan and Damon. Like, Stefan loved mortal Elena, but Damon loved all parts of Elena. So that's what this very much reminded me of. Henry loved a certain version of her the second he found out she was half. And this is another one where fuck all the way off orally. She's like, but we raised you mortal and you literally put her in a viper pit with people who hated her. And their whole mission was anti-descendants. So now you're acting surprised that the people who hate descendants hate your daughter? It's literally their whole mission for the last 20 plus years of her life. That's why you hid all of her capabilities, all of her magic. It's why you drugged her for 20 years with flame root. So you're acting dumb orally and then surprised about the consequences of the actions when you knew exactly the type of people you were fucking around with because you drugged her in the first place.
All right, let's go get Orly. Let's
not, actually.
Let's not. Let's keep her there. All right, let's keep her there.
Book done. Rule shit.
All done.
Kill mom, rule shit. Book done.
How do we get there? Sarai is being held down. Remus, the soldiers, and Elix, everybody's doing stuff. Teller and Diem have talked and confessed to all magic. He's staying there. But Luther and Diem fuck off on Sarai, and they go to Fortos. And Diem tells Luther, she might not be able to do forever. Luther, I might not be able to do forever. And Luther is like, that's fine. You'll get there. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm going to wait for you to catch up on that one,
yeah,
but okay.
That's fine. And we make it to Fortos. The king is there, and he's like, hey, I hate all women. Everybody here does. And Diem's like, all right, cool. I'm going to use your power on you. Rot power, rah, rah, rah. And he's like, okay, that's scary. I will take you to go see your bitch ass mom. And he takes her to go see her bitch ass mom and through the prison. And she's there and she's been tortured. So what? I don't care.
But also it's just interesting because they're like, oh my God, you treated her. You assaulted her in prison. And again, I'm not saying that assault in prison is okay. That's not what this is. But she literally tried to kill all the crowns.
Yeah.
What did they think she was going to get?
Yeah. Come on. But she's in there with all the descended and mom. And this is where it's just she reverts into her little girl. And this is where Orly is so fucking patronizing. She's just like, hi, baby.
So condescending. Yeah. So condescending the entire time and does infantilizes her.
Yes.
A lot with all of her choices. Now, mind you, I think I have to keep reminding myself as we're reading this book, it's been 8 months. Fucking dipped for 8 months. So Diem's been 19, 20 years old this whole time. So she either has never healed her inner child or she reverted back to this parentified eldest daughter because she had to keep the house running. She had to be an example for her brother. She was keeping her dad together because she was off Orly was off doing, just working with the Guardians, being a spy.
She says, my notes say that Orly doubts everybody. She's childish. She's stubborn. She's stupid. She goes, I won't let you betray the Guardians for him. We'll let him take the fall. He's just a descended. And it's just and it grates on me so badly too, because just as you keep pointing out, Diem is also descended. So it's just what are you doing? You're so awful. And oh, you don't see it in your own. That's worse. That's worse. And then Diem is like, Mom, don't run. She's like, I have experience evading the descended Diem. And she just runs away. And the king is like, finally, I can kill her now with no reason. Hooray.
Yeah, because before he couldn't kill her because he needed all of the crowns or 6 of the 9 crowds to agree to killing her. And he was like, unless that person tries to escape, then all bets are off. Which again, why are we is it the whole, and again, this is also a frustration that I have that Orly says at some point in the book. She's like, but we're family. And then all of a sudden she's like, as we know, to quote Bobby Singer on Supernatural, family don't end in blood. So she finally grows a pair and was like, you know what? If you don't like my man, then you can go ahead and fuck all the way off. And it took her so long also because she wanted this approval for her mother, who has been lying to her for her whole life, drugging her entire life. And then, like you said, where she's like talking so much shit about the descendants, you fucked one and you had a kid who's half descendant. So, like, I'm sorry. Like, if you are somebody who carries a lot of trauma and a lot of inner guilt and a lot of responsibility, as Diem does, it would be hard not to separate the two of, well, then does my mom hate part of me also?
Yeah. Just, okay. All right. But we've got to get out of this veiny prison. All right. So Diem destroys the Godstone door and then gaslights the fuck out of the king and be like, I didn't do that.
It's actually iron. That was like...
Actually, didn't you say it was broken? Like
squeaky hinges.
He's like, squeaky hinges. But no. So we fight the king. We fight with all we got and we kill the king. And we hear the voice, right? Like Luther, the voice. We have, daughter of the forgotten, we're glowing, the gray, never before did I choose this, guard my people well, beware my brother's wrath. Claim me, daughter of the forgotten. And that's where, her head is on, she drops everything, her head, all this stuff. And she stabs the shit out of that king. And the crown is all veiny and it's gross and it goes on her crown and all the crowns are different and and then we have another banger. The pain of change isn't always failure. Hey, bangers all. Orly is choosing the mortals over her family.
Again. I'm so done with this bitch. Why are we looking for her approval? And again, it's very easy to be like, why is she doing this? But then, like, there's so many of us who are still in that same situation. We're like, but okay, this is fantasy world. I can see what we have to unlearn,
Yep. So we've got to get out of Fortos. There's a big hole in the prison that we've got to climb out of. We do that, and the entire realm's soldiers are waiting for us, and we fight, and we have a good fucking fight. And Diem actually does the thing, and she goes, end yourself. And he does, right there in the middle of the fucking field, and that's good shit, and she should do that more often.
And then, like, owning her title, too, because this is also the part where, like, everybody's, like, going, tit for tat, back and forth, blah, 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 till she goes, you know what? I'm the fucking queen. And actually double queened up because Fortos died, and now I'm the queen of Lumnos and Fortos. So fucking kneel. And I was like, this is the energy we want to see. That was a good fucking part.
Yep. Luther and Sarai, jump in, grab her, and Orly, we go back to Lumnos, but we can't land because the soldiers are there from Fortos, and Remus is there, and we've got bolts for Sarai. Teller is on the balcony. It's very cinematic. Like, Teller's on the balcony, and he's, like, being held back by Zelric and Terran, and he's trying to get to Diem, and they're swooping, like, trying to get closer, but, like, the bolts are firing. It's this whole very dramatic thing, but they end up leaving Teller there. They fucking leave him, and they go to Montios. They drop Mom at the fucking camp, right? Yeah. And they go touch the circle where the Montios dragon had died. She goes in and, like, pays homage there. And then the commanders find her, and off they go to the Crown Council. And the Crown Council says, yeah, no, we know you were coming. Our king told us. He told us.
And you're actually, when they're going through, like, the next king or crown, they're like, and that's actually you, because nobody else can access where, like, Gryvern's died, and you're the first person who's been able to. So if you have that type of access, that means you are next.
Yep. This is where we learned about the Forgotten Lands. There's a rebel there with a 10-pointed star. Interesting stuff. Umbros was attacked 3 days ago. And this is where Diem's like, ooh, all right. Like, I'm going to use my magic if he's kind of close to see like where this man is. And she uses the founding magic and she sees her, well, I guess, spoiler, her sire, and he sees her through this like 4G magic vision and touches her, which is always very scary when they touch you in that kind of like dreamy state. And he says like, daughter of the forgotten, come find me. Like, we will destroy, blah, 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 blah. And of course, Diem freaks out about this. She freaks out about this. She reads the letter, guard the people. One must fall, one must rise. Forgotten, not lost, beware my brother. The letter left over from her for the king. And then we have Orly talking about how she killed him. Diem, you're wrong, Diem. You're so wrong, Diem. I killed him.
How do you know that? Because I killed him. No, you stabbed him. You didn't kill him. No head, not dead.
Yeah, like, come on. But Diem and all are just like, hey, like, let's go check him out. Like, I can shoot him, right? I'll shoot him with the bow. Like, everything is good. Everything is good. No, everything's
not
bad.
Good.
Everything's bad. And then we're learning. And then Orly is telling us everything. This is Orly's confession, right? Orly's confession here. Hey, so like the Fort Toast King sent me on a job. Like, there was this guy in this hidden door and I opened it and I was like, damn, I'm lonely. Let's fuck him.
Because let's not forget, she was like playing both sides and she was a spy. And then they're like, hey, we found out that you're a spy. You want to spy for us instead? Because like you said, I'm a lonely spy.
Yeah.
Let me go fuck this 10th Kindred god.
Yeah, this man who's like been living on talk about cleanliness, been living on rats in a room for centuries. Let's fuck him.
Well, yeah. And then you're like, at what point is your like survival skills instinct? Like, he's been here for years, hundreds of years, and has not been able to leave. That should be sending up some red flags for you, because hell, it did for even Nesta when she was under the mountain.
Yep. It's like, ooh. And then Orly's like, and then you were born and he tried to stab you and he said that your blood would break the curse. Oh, Orly, all of this would have been very helpful to know, Orly.
But then wants to blame Diem. It was all there. You're actually the no. At what point? I wish Diem would get fired up more, because if she, like you said, any of this information since book 1, book 2, and now have been disclosed to her entire life, things would be going very differently right now. You hid so much, and then you still want to blame your daughter that you hid. You never disclosed information. And honestly, if you have, like, and I'll use this in air quotes, like a healthy family dynamic, like, why would there have been any thought to question anything?
Well, and so not only all of this about Orly, she drops all of this onto Diem, right? All of this bullshit onto Diem. And then she interrupts the tree fingering? Like, are you kidding? She's like, get your hands off of my daughter!
Get away from me! Sorry, what?
Oh, Diem, don't you understand? He's trying to be king. She's better than me. She's better than me.
Diem is very much better than any of us.
Luther's better than me. I would have just been combusting at this point. But this is where Diem kind of finally yells at her. She's like, he saved us. You were gone and he saved us. Like, I was alone and Teller was alone and he saved all of us. And you know what? I feel guilty about killing Dad and like all of this stuff. And it was my fault. No, it's not your fault. Yes, it's not. So everybody confesses everything. Everybody's confessing everything. Everybody's on the same page here. Okay, fine. Fine.
Which I also don't like this scene because everybody confesses everything. And then you turn the page because I co-read this with the audio and the book. Or audio and the Kindle Unlimited book. And it was also like, now we're kikiing the next page.
Yeah.
We're just hee-hee-hawing. Oh my goodness. Like, and we were saying all these secrets and we caught her up on like all the things that like Luther and I did for the last 3 books. What?
Mm-hmm.
What? That's all it took? No, that would never.
Nope. All right. So the plan is now to go to Sothos. And oh, by the way, Orly has more truth bombs before she goes. The Arboros Queen is in league with the Guardians. Oop. She was like at the camp. She was chilling. They like did all of that play acting for you. She's half mortal. She promised her half mortal parent that she would take care of everybody. Oh, by the way, though, I'm going to have a heart to heart with Luther and I'm going to give y'all my blessing. Because that's important, right? You care? You care about what I think? I know, it's so important. Here's my blessing.
I wouldn't be looking for any sort of, when people are like, oh, I'm seeking someone's, like my parents. But if I don't have a good relationship with, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, why are you looking for their approval? She just 2.5 seconds ago, she was saying how he was after the crown. And now I give you my blessing. And also, why is this the priority? We have a lot of other shit going down. More that you probably haven't even told us about orally.
Yep. All right. So here we are in Sothos. We're screaming for 3 days. We have to adjust. All right. We're meeting Doriel. Doriel tells us about Afiakai. Afiakai is this man. We have a name. It's Afiakai. Doriel is lying about literally everything. He's lying about everything. He says, hey, go read the books for 2 days. Does that sound familiar? Does that plot line sound familiar? Go read the books for 2 days. Yeah, it does. That's exactly what Umbrio said. But okay, fine. We'll do that here, though, because we're going to fuck for 2 days, but we'll get there. We have to run into Teller, though, and we have to say, hey, Diem, fuck you and fuck Lily for not telling me that I was accepted here. This is my dream. Get fucked. And I like that Teller did that.
And again, communication, right? Because she was like, because all she said was like, oh, damn, I forgot. But she's right in her mentality. Yeah. Because then it's like, she's right in her mentality that if she said, hey, look, at my coronation, like this is kind of presented, but I do want to share this information for Sophos. Here's the thing. I know you've been studying your ass off. I know this is like you distinguishing yourself, especially as a mortal in this world full of descendants. But I'm telling you right now that like we got some inside information and the mortals who go here don't typically come back. There's typically, like, even if it wasn't true, how would you not want to share that with your brother, knowing it's like when we also talk, again, a smaller scale, but like we talk about like always meet your idols, which is contrary to what everybody says. Cause you're like, that way, if they are terrible, then you know, why am I going to keep supporting that person? Right. So like, it's the same thing here. It's like, look, I know this was like your dream school, but this is what's happening and this is what they're supporting. And this was presented to me and I kind of told them to get fucked because I don't want you to die. Then at that point, he could kind of be solemn about it, but he would be like, well, I don't want to fucking die too. Or they could have had a fight earlier to be like, that's not your decision to make. But either way, and that's what Teller says. He goes, I'm not mad about all this other shit. I'm mad that you lied and you withheld information. I thought we were past that. Because right now it really is just you and me against the world.
Well, he drops the banger. How would Henry know? Oh, Henry told you? Cool. How would he know? He wouldn't. That dumb shit. We love it. We love when Teller keeps it real. Okay, we're like in the backslide of this. Let's breeze through this. We have a battle with Afiakai. He's coming. The mortals are coming. Vance is coming. The Lost Realm. We are dropping information. The crown, the Gryvern. He's coming. That's weird. He's got a Gryvern. Huh. Diem has been marked with the 10-pointed star on her chest from when he grabbed her in the vision. So she is spared. right? Diem is like stabbing Gryverns, and she's saving Doriel, and she's attacking and like confronting Afiakai, right? You know, she's got her 3 crowns, and she can sense that Afiakai wants them. And, you know, he abandons the mortals. He abandons the shields he has on the mortals after a while, and he leaves. You know, Diem has the sword from her vision. It's the sword from the ancient armory that had the ancient Godstone weapons, and she's holding it. And here is where, at the tail end of the battle, Diem starts looking around for Luther, and she can't find him. And this is where her brain goes full mating bond, and she just loses her mind about this.
Yeah.
So much so that we have to get it from Luther's perspective to calm her down.
Yeah, which I like, but this is also a point where I feel like this could have been the epilogue, like the way it was inserted here. But I don't hate it. It's just like her also, she's still, even at the end of the book, she's very much like, and I do like this. I think I highlighted it where she's just like, it's about him. Cause you know how sometimes there's a conversation of people are just like, they want to be in a relationship. They don't care who, they don't care how, they just want to be with one. And that wasn't Diem here. Diem was like, I want these things. If it was him, it's tied to a person and not this idea, which I do appreciate. But again, at the end of this book, she's just like, I want to share this life with him, and I want to choose him to be my mate. And I like the depths of it. I love the sentiment of it. But again, like, she hasn't put 2 and 2 together that everybody around her has, and they have accepted it. And she's very well aware. We discussed this in the second book. We're like, oh, mating bot information, and how like there's an actual ceremony that has them to get their signets together. It's just, she's, like you said, she's completely feral, and she doesn't know why. But the only thing she can disclose is she's like, I just didn't want to lose you again.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, at least you're admitting your feelings. We've come a very long way.
Yeah, and we're a little bit closer to like the big thing. But first, we have to set the groundwork for the betrayal, which is coming. Okay, so Doriel is sending, after this battle, Doriel's like, I appreciate you. I sent to all the crowns so that we can coronate you, because holy shit. And let's get some truth here. Let's talk about it. Amnos was the 10th Kindred. He was the youngest. And we, just like Akhenaten, if you go back to our Nefertiti episode, wiped him from history. We unchiseled him. We deleted. We burned. We wiped. He is gone. And then we thought that we had rounded up all of his descendants, and we locked him the fuck away. Did we murder him? Did we sacrifice him? Unclear. His were the Forgotten Lands. We rewrote history so that he was gone. There's this map of the island. There's that door that's been there since the Blood War that Umbros and Montios knew about and didn't tell anybody else about. Okay. Diem, I wrote this because there's an Indiana Jones line reference here that I feel is very important. Doriel's like, hey, Diem, you can't keep using that ancient sword. That's like an artifact. It belongs in a museum. Gotta point out, Indiana Jones, we love him. Doriel takes it. And Diem, this is where Diem teaches the rest of the students the Godstone poultice, and they're really bitchy to her about it. And then she like cuts her hand. She's like, I'm going to use my new Soto's magic to go back and look at the memory of when I made the first poultice. And wow, my blood was in there. I wonder if that was it. You think? Do you think? This is the end of the book.
We could have saved a lot of time, Miss Diem.
Okay. Luther has arranged very sexy time that starts off with a little private dinner, a little private bath time, and a little private fucking in the little secret reading room.
Love it all. Give it to me, Luther.
Yep. In the library. We love it. And Diem basically has a photographic memory now because she has access to the Sotho's magic. So she basically just drinks liquid cocaine and stays up all night fucking and reading. And you know what? We love that for all of them.
We love that.
Good for them. Good for them. We like when Luther takes the tonic without a question. We love that.
We love it. We love a contraceptive tonic, more specifically when the men take the contraceptive tonic. But one thing that he's also taking care of her, like the next day, is she's like, I have no time to eat. I have to just kind of consume all of this reading material before we have to go back to Curiel. I'm saying that wrong. Curiel. And he was like, look, you don't know what's going to happen over there. So you gotta fucking eat. You need to have energy. And I feel like Luther's in a better place because like he knows the mating bond is there. He knows that she has promised herself to him in every way, even if it's not within like, you're my mate lingo. So you feel like he's settled and he's thinking, he's like, okay, well, shit's likely to go down. And now I'm on high alert because what do you mean I can't come with you?
Yep. He's also in a trance a little bit there too.
Like a sex trance?
No, so when they have to go to Curiel, he's in a trance and he like cuts his heart and he's like really dazed.
Right.
When he says like he has to stay behind. Luther also says very important things that aren't possibly going to be important later. My scar is a symbol of my devotion to Lumnos, but now it's my devotion to you. I will crawl to you. We will never be separated. Wherever you are, I will be. Like, no,
that's not ominous.
That's not book 4. No, that's fine. Diem also very quickly is like, yo, I'll do a bonded bargain. Dorio. It's totally cool. I'll do it. What? We're at the end here, Diem. What are we fucking off with our magic for? What are we doing? No. But we're on Curiel. Just take us home here.
Okay, so we're on Curiel. We're trying new bargains. What we're trying to do is get everybody basically on board that Diem is going to be coronated. She is the rightful queen for Lumnos. She is going to be the crown. None of this Remus regent shit. And she's also looking for basically asylum for her mother. Still. And so she's looking for votes. And most of the crowns at this point they know that crowns in Fortos and Montios and Fortos, they know that we don't know who the crown is right now, but we do know the people that were there have died. And so we're just kind of lingering and Diem's waiting to drop the bomb of that she actually, nope, those are my votes. That's all me. So, and everybody starts showing up to cast their votes. And this is where we have everybody turning their back on her. Hey, appreciate you. We appreciate you, Diem. You went to bat for us, but we're not going to trust you. You're basically like, what the fuck are you? Because now you're absorbing all, and that's again, why are we showing these people that all of a sudden, like, they have done nothing to earn my trust? If that were me, that's close circle. That is a close circle information that we have there. So why are we just like showing off that, oh, look, I could absorb all y'all's power? And I don't understand. Maybe I don't want to say it's because I'm a secretive person. I'm not. It takes a while to earn my trust. And she just gives it so freely. And that has not served you at all in 3 books. So why are we continuing? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. And that's exactly what's happening with Diem. And they were like, yeah, so no, that's fucked that you have all of our powers and you recharge your magic through absorbing ours, or like it gets expedited. That doesn't seem so great. That actually, for those of us who know the lore, is exactly why we got rid of Omnos. So here we are. We're going to do the same exact thing. And your sire, that's the connection. And that's when she's like, oh shit, they're going to isolate me just like they did him. But, you know, to make things work and to make her compliant with this ultimate decision is they bring a loved one, which is, of course, Diem's weakness, and Teller shows up. And that's how she becomes complacent and compliant and does whatever they need so he stays safe. And here we are. Then, you know, everybody shows up, and basically it's all Hervos, Vote, and Umbros who are Team Diem. Everybody else says get fucked. And then, you know, Luther comes with Sarai to try to save everybody, but they can't because she has to be on the island or they'll die and she can't move. And it's all very fast moving. And again, very cinematic. That it's fun, but you're angry for her because this whole time in the book, you just keep thinking, if you did this, we wouldn't be here.
If you did this, we wouldn't do here. Talk about cinematic. One of my favorite parts of this end scene is when the Umbros Queen shows up, right? And Igneous stabs her and she's dying and she scratches him with her Godstone nails. Amazing. I love that shit. And then Diem like absorbs the Umbros Queen's crown and she's got it, right? And then Sothos is like, no, it's okay. It's okay, Igneous. We have a cure. We have a cure. Come to us. We have a cure. And Diem's like, fuck. Like, he's not even going to die. Like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing also, which is because everybody starts like, wait, you had a cure this whole time? And it made me think of the potion that she was gifted from Arboros that she gave Luther. Nobody's clocked that yet. How has nobody said that? Because the person who had obviously the cure at the end of this book is, the researchers in Sophos. But before that, Arboros is carrying the potion because that's where she got her gift from to save Luther. So like, why are we not clocking her? I just have questions because this is like one of those things where you're like, oh, we're going to lay everybody's shit out now.
1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Not all at once, just one section at one time. That's the only way to logically make it through this book. Okay, we are at the end. This is the end. Just as you said, Luther's on Sarai. We got to get off the island. The spell seals at sunset. It's almost sunset. Luther, Perth, and Teller are trying to get up on Sarai, and Perth doesn't make it, and Perth is killed before Diem's eyes, and Diem's like, another death on my conscience. But then as she's like, I'm so guilty, Igneous stabs her right through the fucking heart and then says the banger, the flames always win in the end. And then it's a mic drop, fade to black, cliffhanger.
To be continued.
To be continued. Screaming, throwing up, pacing around, just like frustration, all of the emotions, all of the passionate emotions that I have not felt in a very, very, very long time, emotions that made me run to get book 4, which, as we said, isn't out. And that just made me even more like, but I really enjoy this series. I enjoy these feelings. I enjoy this passion. And being so into these characters in this world, I'm still very interested in book 3, and I'm dying to go into book 4. So there is no series fatigue here. It is just still feelings.
Yeah. And I feel like, we talked about it when we wrapped each episode. Like, we would definitely do a reread of all of these because now everything's laid out and you start to say, like, your connections. And this wasn't your first time reading it. You had read this before while we were recording our book 2 episode. So how many, because this is a thick book in comparison to the other 2 books. In the ebook, it was over 1,000 pages.
Ooh,
and I
that's
know
fun.
the audiobook, I was talking about it as like a sense of accomplishment when we got to the end. But the audiobook is like 31 something.
Here's my confession. So I did this 2.5. The 0.5 times that I read this was at 3x speed.
I did towards the end, I started off at 1.7. I usually like start off at a certain rate and then I increase it. By the time I was co-reading it is when I was like, 3 times, let's go.
Yep, let's go.
But you were also already familiar with it. So did you do it 3 times speed both times?
No.
Okay.
No. But here's the other thing too. I do find that, and I find this consistently throughout these 3 books, that a reread is more enjoyable and more fun than the first reread, first time through. Especially for this chunky ass, thick ass book. Because the first time I was just like, all right, where are we going? We're going to we're not fixing any problems. We're going to another land. All right. We're creating more problems. We're not fixing anything. We're going to another land. Okay.
Nothing has been, and I think that it should be mentioned too. Like, we're in book 3. Nothing has been fixed.
No. It's worse. It's worse.
It's worse. We're in a travel book. We're in the deep travel book, but at no point does it feel like you're trudging along because something is happening very quickly in each of these territories. And then you're bouncing back to like home base and Lumnos and shit's going down there and you got to dip the fuck out again to try to put all these pieces together. And guess what? We're at the end of book 3 and none of these pieces are still together.
Yep. So a reread is more enjoyable. It also like goes faster because you know what to expect. You can kind of like, okay, I can listen to like the details now because I know what's going to happen. For example, I know that Luther is slowly being poisoned from Godstone. I know it's not this other thing. Like I can focus on this and I don't have to think about these other theories. I know it now. So that is more enjoyable. Going through the lands is more enjoyable because you know that they're going to end. You know, you're getting out of them. You know that you're just like dipping a foot into everything so that she can collect all of her power. It was a good reread situation. I'm hyped for book 4. It is really nice to have an excitement towards something for like 3 books in going on book 4. Usually, by this point, it's like a make or break, right? Like you're either in it or you're not. I'm in it. And it might seem that like I'm just angry and frustrated the whole time. That doesn't mean I'm not having a good time. And I think that is the important part.
I think that's very important to note because I feel like just because it's, you know, when people expect you to be happy all the time and happy-go-lucky and putting a smile on your face. So then there's this expectation of like, if you're not that certain way, then you must not be in a good mood. And you're like, no, it's actually like the fact that you're evoking emotions, any type of emotion that makes it so enjoyable that you want to continue. Like, even though we're like bitching about certain aspects, it's not in a way of, I can't continue. This is a series fatigue. No, we're on book 3 and we're like, we need more. And all we know is that we have a book 4 confirmed, no date. So Penn Cole, we love you. Thank you so much for like getting us so excited about another series we get to get behind. But that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. We also have our YouTube channel. You could find that in our links. And let us know where you want to see us. So thanks again, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.